Hey guys, Chef Mark here. I'm going to make for you a pan-seared chicken dish. Although we're going to put a little bit of sort of a sweet and savory twist on it, if you will. I'm going to use a lemon garlic marinated chicken breast. This is vacuum tumbled so the flavor really penetrates it. One of the components to our dish is actually going to be this sauce, so we need to get a base for that. And we're going to use this home-style gravy, as shown here. We're going to find this chef-developed in our prepared foods department. All right, the last thing I need to grab is that sweet element to the dish. These just picked peaches are going to be frozen at the peak of perfection. It's going to be the perfect flavor contrast to our home-style gravy that goes with this. Got everything I need, so let's go cook. All right, we're here to make the pan-seared chicken breast with the peach gravy. So I'm going to have a hot pan here. We have it on a medium-high heat. I'm going to add about 1 tablespoon or so of pure olive oil. We're not using an extra virgin olive oil here. We want a higher smoking point to that. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my chicken breast. After I look for this to turn, faintly smoked, the oil's going to look a little bit more watery. I'm going to put my chicken breast directly inside the pan. And I'm going to put it directly on top of the oil. You want to make sure you put it on top of the oil because that's going to keep it from getting too brown on the bottom. The oil is going to act as a sort of a gentler medium of carrying over the heat on that. Once I have my chicken breast inside there, I'm going to turn that down to medium heat, and we're going to let that rise opaque up the sides, about 1/4 of the way up the sides. All right, now the chicken has gotten brown on the bottom. If you look on the sides here, it's come about 1/4 of the way up the sides, and that's probably good indication where it's about ready to turn. But I want to make sure that you really get that nice browning on the bottom of it. That's an important step of this. You want to make sure that we get that browning because that's ultimately where all of our flavor is. Now this is going to cook for maybe another 5-10 minutes. We're going to wait for it to come up to 165 degrees, and that's when it's done. But while that's going on, I might as well chop the chives. So in order to cut these, actually line these up. When you cut a chive, you want to make sure that you only cut these one time. Don't go and chasing all around the board. Get a nice sharp knife, line them up even, and I'm going to cut these just the one time. This way we keep a lot of that nice, fresh, green, grassy flavor on the inside of the chive. If you bang it around on the board and chase it around, a lot of times you get that little green spot on your board. Well, that's all your flavor going away. All right, so we're going to just check our chicken breast. It should be about done. What I want you to do is put this thermometer in the thickest part of the chicken breast. You want to make sure if you get something you're cooking that's really thin, actually go in the side so you're directly in the middle, the thickest part. And 165 is what we're looking for. Perfect. And also we want to keep in mind some food safety. So any of your tongs or plates that you had your raw chicken breast on, we're going to switch that out for a clean pair of tongs and a clean platter. I'm going to take those chicken breast off. And now any good chicken dish, we need a great sauce with it. So we're actually going to take the existing fat that's maybe left in the bottom of the pan and add a couple shallots. Chopped shallots, it's a mild red onion. I'm going to put that in there. We're actually going to cook that, let those shallots just soften, maybe a minute or two. It's actually going to start to pick off a little bit of that fond, those brown bits on the bottom of the pan. Leave that in there, that's all good flavor. And then what we do is we're going to take half a package, turn our heat to about medium high, half a package of our frozen peaches that we've thawed. We're actually going to cook these and stir these guys up a little bit. And we're actually going to let those caramelize. It may take 3, 4, 5 minutes or so. We're actually going to start to brown those. We want a little bit more complex flavor rather than just the sweet peaches. So we're actually going to help those caramelize a little bit. Let them brown in the pan, and then we're going to flip it over and continue the dish. All right, my peaches are nice and caramelized here. We've developed some complex flavors in there. I'm also going to add about 1/4 cup of white wine at this point. And it does a couple things. We have some sweet peaches, some nice brown bits on the bottom of the pan, but now we're actually adding a little bit of acidity into the pan to kind of contrast those sweet flavors in there. But we're also picking up some of those brown bits we have on the bottom of the pan. Developing, kind of deglazing the bottom of that. The sauce turns nice and brown at this point. We're going to let this reduce until those peaches turn a little bit more brown and that liquid is almost all the way evaporated. All right, once our wine is completely evaporated, the peaches are brown nice, all that's left is to add our gravy to this and get that warmed through. And then, once that goes, we're going to add our chives to this. And basically, all we're going to do at this point is warm it all the way through. Warm enough for me. All right, next thing we're going to do is to take our peaches and our sauce, completely envelop our chicken breast over there. All right, the sauce looks great on our chicken, but you know what? If you felt like it, you could do a great pork chop, serve with that peach gravy. I think that would be fabulous.